All right, so the project for today, well, yesterday and today, was I made a top for this workbench. I got these from Warner Glass. They're sturdy as hell. They're big, they're carpeted. That's what they used to cut glass on. I couldn't find a real nice workbench one day, and I was there buying glass. And Angelo said, what kind of workbench you looking for? I said, I don't know, something good, but for what you pay for them, you're just getting junk. So he said to Eli, the guy that used to work there, why don't you take Michael over to the warehouse and let him check out what workbenches we have in storage. If he wants them, let him have his pick. So I said, well, how much you want for him? He said, how about $20 a piece? So I have 3 of these heavy duty workbenches, carpeted covered, and I didn't want the carpet to get dirty and stained up, so I got a piece of plywood. I sanded it pretty nicely. I embedded tape measure both sides. I had a vise to the top of this. The vise was here before the plywood was screwed on. So I paid $20. I got 3 of these things, and the other 2 are longer. One's down in my workshop, one's down in my downstairs living room. So I sanded this, went to Lowe's to get my old trusty gray stain. I love the gray stain. Here we go. Gray stain. But I seen this blue they had on sale from $22 to $10. I'm like, shit, I'll find something to make out of it. So I got it, stained it. I had a bunch of epoxy resin laying around, a couple gallons worth that I did projects with that left over. So I went and I got blue pigment, glow in the dark, phosphorescent, mixed it in. I dug out all the centers here where it was like the knots were rotted. I did 1 skim coat so far that gets into all the little cracks and crevices. Tried to blow, not blow, but tried to use fire actually to remove any bubbles in it. And then tomorrow, can't do it when it's getting cold like tonight, I will pour probably at least a gallon. This was very minimal amount I put on it now, so probably about a gallon on top of it. But here's the cool part about it. Let me show you. So here is, let me show you this. See my race car hanging on the wall? Got a lot of shit in here now. I got this, it says, here. Hold on. Oh. Light off. Says it freezes. All kinds of stuff. And water skis. But I got a tampon machine right there. All kinds of craziness going on. So, apartment for rent, stuff like that. All right, so sorry. Cool thing. Let me show you what it is. Grab my light here. I don't know how charged it's going to be. Oh crap. Hold on 1 second, right back. So I don't know if you could tell, but I'm charging it with a high-powered black light flashlight, and then I'll turn off the light. I remember it's only 1 skim coat. I got 100 grams of blue phosphorescent to put into it, and then it should really charge really nicely. So let me turn it off and see what it does. Huh. You can kind of see it. The camera doesn't pick it up too well, but it does look super. It's really fluorescent. So that's that. So that was the project for today. looks cool. If you know me, everything glows, lights up, turns colors, glows in the dark, all kinds of craziness. The camera really ain't picking it up, that's the sad part, but you can kind of see the knots glowing. It is really glowing, but the camera's ain't picking up. Anyway, so that was today's project. Tomorrow, put another coat on it and go from there. So, all right, have a good night. Talk to you later. All right, so here's the second pour. I used a gallon. Came out really nice. I put these white glow-in-the-dark strips for just a little more glow-in-the-dark action. Down there, I just used vinyl tape for the side since it's not a big pour. I put my logo in there for show and tell signs and art studios. Before I poured this, I went over it with 600 wet sandpaper. Then I went over with 1200 wet sandpaper. You don't really have to do that if you're not. If you're doing a thick pour, you really don't have to do that. If you're doing thin pour, like this is probably 1/8 of an inch, max 1/4 inch some places. It just helps level it out, any little dust or particles that got in there. But if you're doing like 1 inch or more, you don't have to do that in between pours. Just it'll fill in anything. But yeah, so that's it. Looks good, came out nice. I used a total of 100 grams of phosphorite blue, and I'll let you know what it looks like when it hardens and go from there. All right, there you go. Have a good weekend. All right, here is the table. Just charging it with a black light. It's pretty neat. Probably the camera won't pick it up, it didn't before, but I'll see what it does. Let it charge for a minute. See what it does. There is the off button. It's a little better than it was before with just the one pour. Going to charge it. It is really bright. You can't tell, but it is. It looks super cool. But there you go. Sounds good. All right. Let me know what you think. You can see it pretty good now. Looks super cool. And that's the table.